So a while ago, and some 10,000 kilometers in fact ago, I did a brief review of this EcoPlug oil pan drain insert. And since I needed to do an oil change, the first one since I installed it actually, I figured I'd give you a little update on it. So I'm not going to redo the whole review here, and if you didn't see that, you really should go watch that instead. I'll link to it below. Basically, I just wanted to report no problems so far. As you can see, there's no leak around the plug, either the magnetic cap or around the threads. Actually, there is a leak on this engine, but it's from the main seal farther up. That oil you can see is from that, not the drain plug. So yeah, the plug is good, and as I explained in the review, I didn't use the supplied epoxy as it was terrible. Rather, I used Permatex thread sealant, which is holding up just fine so far. Now, all this isn't to say that there aren't any drawbacks. I went over a few in the review, and half of the comments on that video are just trashing the whole concept. During installing, it's definitely a risk that you could strip out the pan threads, worse than they already are. Or if you over-crank on tightening it, you could even conceivably crack your pan casting. And then there's the fact that this thing is sticking out here and, maybe it's a bit vulnerable. So it's not idiot-proof, but I do want to point out that it hasn't dumped a load of oil on the road just yet, and it doesn't really look like it will. Now, what I can complain about is the slow speed of the oil drain, which you are watching here. It's about exciting as watching grass grow. If you were running a quick lube shop, I don't think you'd be very happy with this if a customer turned up with one. The smaller size of the internal drain definitely does slow it down. There's also the fact that less oil will drain out because of the higher low level of the drain internally inside the sump. You can mitigate that to some extent by jacking the front of the car up higher so as to tilt it up at a steeper angle, but it's always going to drain less, and that much is true. Now, on the other hand, pulling the magnetic cap off was easier and less messy than unscrewing a plug where it starts to leak out just before the last few threads are undone, and obviously easier to put back on for obvious reasons. So I will think about doing a proper drill and tap fix for a new plug at some point, maybe. But honestly, this is pretty good as far as bodge solutions go. What I'm saying is, yes, it is a bodge, but an acceptable one. Right, I hope that was helpful.